At the beginning of the episode, Glotov is given clearance by the council to continue working at Pinnacle Corporation. When he finally gets the green light, he's overjoyed and decides to go it alone. The action then follows the hostages as they wait for the bomb to go off in the underground bunker. At that moment, Natasha hears a knock at the door and runs to tell the others. Shortly after, a bald man walks in through the same entrance, forcing Valera to take the cigarette out of the explosive. When they see this, they congregate around the individual and want to know how he got there. It is then that they decide to have Irina check on the balding young man, who they have noticed is bleeding from his ears. In a few minutes, Irina will also show up and have them take the patient to the operating room. Irina sends Natasha to get bandages and water to treat the man, and Valera and Sasha search his pockets to locate a swipe card. Upon obtaining the card, they rush to the door in an attempt to open it. Valera surprises everyone by having the door open for them as soon as she inserts the card in the slot. Sasha tries to prevent people from entering the room because the bald man warned them that someone was after him, but they ignore him and continue ahead. Inside, they discover the bodies of 2 more troops and several physicians. The group also locates the room housing the CCTV cameras used to keep watch over them. Valera then makes the decision to press on and locate an exit from the building, despite the fact that most of the other people there are now running away in terror for fear of being shot. But Xenia concedes to go out with Valera, and she even gets a gun before they leave. Both Valera and Xenia are relieved to emerge from the bunker and enjoy the fresh air after what seems like an eternity. When Xenia checks the signal strength on his phone, he finds none. Simultaneously, as the two are trying to locate the city, they hear an eerie sound that causes them to retreat to the bunker. The following scenario finds the survivors leaving the bunker to venture into the city in quest of sustenance. After finishing up with the bald man's treatment, Irina comes over to join the others. Nadia objects when Valera advises the women stay put while the men go out and get food, and she notes that she, too, will be going with the guys. In addition, Irina says she'll go out in search of sustenance. Following this discussion, it is decided that the rest of the group will venture into the city in search of food and supplies, while Natasha, Marina, Sasha, and Xenia will remain in the bunker. Meanwhile, Irina stresses the importance of burying Nerd's corpse before they leave. They then emerge from the bunker, having buried Nerd's body. Slowly but surely, they are making their way back to the bunker in anticipation of their march into the city. 6 of the party then exit the bunker and set out to find a car to take to the city, as had been arranged. Having been unable to locate a suitable vehicle, they opt to make the trip to the city on foot. After a short while of wandering through the woods, they come across the city's remains. By observing the area carefully, Mitya is able to determine that they are still in Moscow. While everything is going on, back in the bunker, Sasha and Xenia are exploring their newfound home in the hopes of discovering something useful. At that very moment, Natasha walks up to them, and Xenia makes a pass at flirting with her. Sasha is uncomfortable as he observes this, but Xenia assures him that he can easily woo Natasha with a few clever ploys. The next scene finds Valera and company at a store, where they hear a terrifying scream immediately as they enter. After a brief search, they locate a floor stocked with their favorite food item, and they begin to joyfully collect it. Mitya, while everyone else is stocking up on food, ventures to the other floor in search of the narcotics and other medications he may use to get high. Irina continues her search for Mitya in the mall, and it is then that she spots the mysterious woman. Unfortunately, the woman disappears into thin air before she can catch her. Valera, on the other hand, is almost attacked by a bunch of mysterious ladies while she searches for cell phones and some surveillance cameras. After getting everything they needed, the party was preparing to leave the supermarket when Irina saw the same woman again. The woman slowly makes the same bizarre, terrible sound that has been there throughout the entire series as she approaches the group. It's loud enough to potentially disable hearing or even cause paralysis. Fortunately, everyone has their ears plugged, and just as the woman is about to attack, the man who has been seeking for his sister, Max, shows up and shoots her dead. He then comes over and suggests they get out of there quickly. Before the killer females can approach, Max and Valera make it out of the building in Max's car. Next, we see the group inside the bunker, where they've recently arrived. They start talking about the crazy people they've encountered at the grocery store. Valera adds that he personally witnessed one of them murder a man by biting into his throat. Max chimes in to elaborate, saying that the women are just like mutants in that they make an annoying noise and follow the prey as if they have some kind of connection to it. Meanwhile, Glotov and his team have captured one of the mutants and are preparing to test her in a variety of ways in a research center. The chief scientist reports to Glotov, who demands that the tests be sped up, and that he be kept apprised of the results. He also notes that the females are attractive but potentially harmful. Simultaneously, Randomsky is seen approaching a recently deceased mutant on the street, bending down to collect a blood sample in a tube. At the bunker, Marina begins to feel uncomfortable and throws up blood. Natasha tries to talk some sense into her and suggests that she take a break. A day after the bald soldier stormed into the bunker, Irina returns to tell the others that he needs a blood transfusion to survive. Irina proposes they visit a local blood bank and bring blood for him. Fearing the killer ladies, no one wants to go out and carry the bag of blood at first, but when Mitya finally wakes up, she changes her mind and decides to go. He and Irina take Valera and Max to the nearest blood clinic. Randomsky calls Glotov in the next scene, demanding to know the whereabouts of his daughter. In a nutshell, Glotov has informed Randomsky that his daughter has been punished because of his betrayal. When Randomsky rejects his invitation to return, he simply tells him to hunt for his daughter among the mutants. Before long, he abruptly hangs up and orders his soldiers to capture Randomsky alive. Next, as Sasha is in the bunker trying to pull information off a motherboard he found, Pasha is watching Marina through the security cameras and seems to be developing feelings for her. Marina leaves the room unexpectedly, prompting Pasha to look for her everywhere. When his search for Marina inside the bunker proves fruitless, he goes looking for her outdoors. While everything was going on, Irina and company went inside the blood facility to locate the blood bank. Mitya locates the blood storage facility and delivers 2 vials to Irina. Some of the mutants walk into the blood center and immediately spot them. Thankfully, they're able to escape the blood facility before the mutants can attack. Jane tells the others that Marina has gone missing and that Pasha has also gone searching for her when they return to the bunker. When Irina hears this, she proposes they go look for them, but Max says it's getting late and they should look tomorrow. A short while later, Natasha shows there and reveals that the bald soldier was actually dispatched to kill them on orders from the evil Pinnacle Corporation. When Mitya hears this, he immediately advises that the soldier be killed rather than attempted to be saved. To Mitya's chagrin, nobody else seems to agree with his proposal. After taking Max's weapon, he goes to the operating room to eliminate the soldier. When Mitya goes inside, he doesn't see the soldier lying on the bed, so he starts looking for him elsewhere. The soldier then appears before him, surprising Mitya and leading him to shoot him in the stomach. After a moment of stunned silence, Valera politely requests that Mitya exit the bunker. Mitya tries to explain to the others that he killed the soldier to protect them, but they refuse to believe him. On the other hand, Pasha tracks down Marina at the same building the radio guy suggested. Inside, they discover the radio guy dead, leading Pasha to conclude that they must head back to the bunker. Marina, however, informs him that she is expecting and is hence not interested in returning to the bunker with him. Then, Mitya announces that she is packing up to leave the bunker and declines the other people's offers of possessions. Just before he leaves, he runs into Max and complains to him about how challenging Irina is. Time passes, and eventually Mitya uncovers some cocaine powder in a bar. The next day, while everyone else was out looking for food, Irina saw Max skulking out of the building and confronted him. He assures her he will keep looking for his sister until he does, and then he walks away. The most surprising part is that Irina gets in the car with him and drives off without telling anyone else what's going on. Everyone starts making fun of Irina and Max after hearing the news that they managed to escape the bunker. They all assume that they will join them the next day. Simultaneously, Nadia leaves the bunker, and it appears that someone is following her. As a result, when Irina and Max visit Max's sister's apartment, they discover the body of the sister's lover on the floor. Max finds an iPad by his side and starts watching the final movie his sister, Lana's boyfriend, made for him. When he watches the video, he realizes that his sister has contracted the virus despite her boyfriend's best efforts to protect her. In addition, he learns that Lana became a mutant and killed her partner after watching the film. Max is devastated after seeing this and begins crying while sitting on a couch. Irina does what she can to soothe him and begins looking for drugs that might be of use to them. Lana, now a mutant, walks up to Irina and appears ready to attack. Max, distraught at the sight, draws his weapon and shoots his sister, instantly ending her life. After doing this, he feels terrible regret and he vents his anger by yelling. At the bunker's return, a band of hunters ambush Valera and the others inside. Because of the abundance of food, they decide to stay. Sasha's false claims that the mutants routinely visit their residence and attempt break-ins convince the hunters to change their opinions. Once the hunters hear this, they will leave the group members tied down. Nadia unexpectedly contacts the group's leader, asking to join the hunters. Thankfully, the leader agrees with her and decides to bring her along. Valera asks the leader to leave behind a map of the area, and he complies. Sad to say, the hunters leave and lock Valera and the others out. While Irina and Max are cruising around the city in their automobile, they suddenly run out of gas and are forced to pull over in the middle of the road. After this, Irina proposes getting out of the car and looking for another one, and Max agrees. He and Irina cautiously exit the vehicle and sprint toward the nearby buildings in an attempt to flag down another vehicle. When we next see Jane, she is standing in front of a mirror, examining the wound on her hand where a mutant had bitten her while they were out foraging for food. She rolls up her sleeves to conceal the cut and leaves. Valera then tries and fails to use a bomb to blow the door in the following scene. Sasha immediately tries to comfort him by assuring him that Irina and Max would eventually come back. Unfortunately, Valera doesn't buy this and shoots back that nobody will come back once they escape the bunker. In contrast, when Max and Irina stroll around the neighborhood, they overhear a conversation and decide to follow it in silence. Shortly thereafter, they come upon 3 troops who are roving the area. They say they are not sick, but to no use, as Max shouts them out and the soldiers begin openly firing at them. Fortunately, both of them make it out of there alive. Parallel to this, Pasha and Marina are strolling and speculating on their future together. Pasha quickly spots a horse and sets out to capture it. When the horse bolts, he tells Marina to wait while he gives chase. After a while of aimless exploring, Marina comes across a mutant's body on the roadside. Another mutant, unlucky for her, is lurking behind her. Someone shoots the mutant as it approaches Marina, knocking her out cold before stabbing her in the head with a needle. After that, Irina and Max locate a vehicle and get ready to go. Despite Irina's reminder that they must return to the bunker and warn the others about the military's brutality, Max insists that they get out of town immediately. Max first refuses to do as she says, but eventually gives in and returns to the bunker. As the story progresses, Marina awakens in a locked room and cries out for assistance. One of the soldiers will be in shortly to see how she is doing. Once he and his staff, Glotov, are confident that she is not sick, they invite her into the chamber. Glotov walks in and immediately begins trying to engage in conversation with Marina. Nonetheless, Marina remains silent and fixates her gaze on Glotov's worker. Angry, Glotov tells her that she will be exploited as another test subject before leaving. In the next scene, we see Irina and Max inside the bunker, briefing the others on their experiences in the streets. The news that Nadia joined the hunting party came as a complete surprise to Irina. After waiting for a while, Max examines the map provided by the hunter's leader and formulates a strategy to leave the city. Once back in the cell, Marina is surprised to see Glotov's worker, who turns out to be her lover. He advises Marina not to mention the bunker or the fact that she is pregnant when she tells him about her ordeal in there. They talk and laugh, unaware that Glotov is watching them through the security camera and listening in. Before he leaves, he reveals to Marina that he is employed by the Pinnacle Corporation and gives her his solemn promise that she would be safe in his hands. Sasha later takes Irina to the computer room to show her the data he collected. He informs her that he has information concerning Clayton and the other participants in the study. Surprisingly, with the exception of Irina, all of the 10 test subjects are members of their own group. This leads Irina to believe that she is in the wrong place at the wrong time. Later, they find the name Randomsky and discover that he was Irina's professor when she was in medical school. She goes on to assure Max and Sasha that Randomsky is an honorable man who would never consider conducting an experiment on a human subject by sealing them in the bunker. After this, Sasha and the others wait for someone to enter their bunker after seeing the door is ajar. As soon as the door is opened, Valera lunges at a youngster who enters, trying to assault him. The youngster is handcuffed to a chair and quizzed about why he came to see them. The young man explains that Randomsky has dispatched him to save them. He tells them the viral vaccination is ready and explains that Randomsky accidentally dropped the bottle, setting off the whole crisis. Valera becomes outraged upon hearing this and knocks the man unconscious. In the meanwhile, Glotov is prepared to put the subject through tests using ultrasound at varying frequencies. When one of the scientists demonstrates that the mutant's desire to kill may be removed using ultrasound, Glotov sends Marina into the same room as the mutant and conducts his own experiment. The mutant is aggressive and runs after Marina when the ultrasound is turned off, but it settles down once it is introduced. The mutant becomes weak from the rising ultrasound and collapses on the floor. The results of the experiment have apparently satisfied Glotov, who thinks he has found the ideal tool with which to subdue the mutants. The action then moves to the bunker toilet, where Jane is preparing to sever her veins. Valera and the others try to dissuade her, but she is not in the listening mood. She exposes the bite mark she received from the mutant and begs them to leave her alone. Valera, however, advances closer to her, causing her to drop the blades in her hands. He gives her a deep hug and tells her he will do anything he can to help her. Conversely, Irina pays the youngster a visit and revives him. She continues by inquiring about Professor Randomski's vaccine development efforts. She is told that she resembles him and that the immunization is nearly finished. When Irina overhears this, she asks for the location of Randomski's lab and urges he keep quiet. When she hears this from him, she sends him on his way. Later, when Valera learns of it, he becomes extremely enraged and snatches Irina by the collar. Jane's life hangs in the balance, and he leaves her only if she says she knows where Randomski's lab is located. In the final scene, everyone decides to head to the lab instead of staying in the bunker. In a surprising turn of events, Xenia and Natasha propose breaking up into smaller groups to look for rescue. Max lends them his car and everyone else seems to approve of her plan. The gang then emerges from the bunker, with Natasha and Xenia taking off in the car while the rest take a secret path to Randomski's lab. At the close of the episode, Glotov orders one of his employees to locate a source of ultrasonic radiation within the city so that the mutants can be gathered there. By amassing such a sizable force of mutants, he appears to be plotting something nefarious.